Hey, what's everybody? What's up, everybody? It's good to be back with you here again, and we're back at home against Oregon State. And we'll see how this one goes today. I don't know. You've heard me talk about this before. I don't know how sold I am on continuing to use this editor database file, and I'm starting to wonder if it wouldn't be better to come up with some other type of project. I mean, we have played, 19, 20, 21. I think we've played about 21 matches so far, and I've got to be honest with you, the season's getting kind of boring. We're playing Oregon State again. We're going to have, this is the second of 3 round-robin go-rounds within the conference. We technically already had the conference championship game, but we're going through it again, and we can't make any changes to the team because the transfer window doesn't open until until July. There is no winter transfer window here. Here's Alpha Doe with it, and he knocks it forward to Garcia back to Matt Williams, and so as a result, we're kind of stuck with the players that we have. The nice thing is nobody can buy players off of us. The bad thing, though, is that we can't do anything to change the team at all, and if we could, we can only make 4 transfers. And there's a shot by somebody up there. I'm not sure who that was who took that shot, and it was deflected out for a corner for us, and so we're off to another good start. Garcia winds up and fires that one, and it is caught by the Oregon State goaltender. The funny thing about this, of course, is that nobody can make any sort of changes at all, right? So, I mean, we know who's going to win. It was Silvis who missed that, and there was Evan Bowden whose shot was deflected. Though we know that we're probably going to end up winning the conference or the league in the end because nobody can make any changes. I mean, there's not much they can do unless somebody has some miracle tactical discovery or something like that. You know, it's kind of weird how it works. I've been saying this all along. You got to be careful when you have your editor data files. And Aldana ends up cleaning up the mess for Grant Martin, whose header went over the goaltender and was knocked backwards. Aldana, I don't think, needed to kick that one in. So watch what happens here again. Daly had it here, and he lumps up across, and is Martin with the header that gets behind Findlay, who has a miraculous attempted to save, and Aldana just runs over and pokes it in and takes the goal away. The ball really, I think, goes over the line there, but it'll tell us here, I guess, that it didn't. And so that is ruled to be a goal for Aldana instead of for Grant Martin, who gets an assist. That's not much of an assist. The assist really comes from Findlay, the goalie, but whatever. We'll keep it as it is. We're not going to complain much about it. Daly passes into Silvis, goes back up to Daly. Daly works with it now passes back to Silvis again. Silvis works backwards this time and has a little bit of a lump over to Garcia, and that's grabbed by Findlay, and that'll be a goal kick for Oregon State. Anyway, if you're watching this and you've made it this far, congratulations to you. But if you have any ideas of any sort of editor data file or interesting project that would be interesting to do short term, please let me know. I think that the Around the Globe mega pack is probably delayed. Here's Bowden with the free kick, and he's looking up there for somebody. You don't know exactly who. If that was not Alpha Doe, I know that. It goes back though from Daly to Bowden. Bowden over to Gallagher to Martin. And it goes back over to the back and back to Gallagher, over to Sun Hyun Taek. Sun Hyun Taek over to Bowden, back to Daly. Daly looks forward for Martin, can't quite find him. Ends up with Findlay again. I thought for a while about doing something in South Korea or something in Japan. We already did China. I don't know if I really want to go back there, especially if we have to do real-life restrictions. But the problem I have with that is that I have to make sure that we have updated files for the Japan League for the sake of AFC competition, if nothing else. So that's also been on hold, and that's why we've stayed here. Here's Garcia with the corner, knocks this one up, looking for Chris Gallagher, can't quite find him. And this is knocked back as far as Silvis. Silvis has it over to Gallagher, Gallagher over to Doe, and goes over to Williams. Williams to Sun Hyun Taek. Sun Hyun Taek with it over to Garcia, and he plays with it a little bit, passes it back to Sun Hyun Taek, over to Garcia again. Garcia passes it forward to Daly, and he's offside, and that'll do that. So yeah, lots of interesting projects that we could do, but a lot of projects that I don't think make much sense, especially if we're kind of hoping that we can do the Hexagon Challenge here starting pretty soon. And that's one of those things I don't want to get into a huge long-term project with that potentially on the horizon. Aldana is offside once again, and it's another goal kick for Oregon State. My biggest problem, as I said, and as I've said multiple times with this particular setup, is that it's so repetitive because you can't make any transfers, and you need to be able to do transfers in Football Manager. That's where the problem lies. Matt Williams throws it over into Martin and goes back to Williams. Williams knocks that back to Corin. I don't know why we do this, but we are, whatever. Over to Alpha Doe, passes to Silvis, then it goes back to Chris Gallagher. Chris Gallagher now is going to walk this one up. He passes it over to Daly. Daly looks for Aldana, finds Martin again. It goes back eventually to Garcia, passes it back to Son Hyun-taek, and his shot is deflected over to Daly. And Daly with a little cross that almost goes in, and Aldana missed that one by about an inch. And so we're knocking on the door looking for a second goal here, and it's just not quite going to happen, not quite yet at least, as Oregon State Sherman here with the throw, and he gets past the defense. Man, and he has a shot on goal that luckily for us ends up going over the head of the goaltender. That was not well played by us. Sherman with another pass over to Quintero, back to Sherman, and what's happening to the defense? Well, Son Hyun-taek is able to get this ball, though, off of his man, passes it forward Aldana up to Garcia. Garcia works with it a little bit, passes it back to Matt Williams. Williams over to Garcia. Garcia plays with it a little bit, back to Matt Williams over to Alpha Doe. Alpha Doe takes this one forward, looks for Silvis, finds him, back to Doe, and we're just playing around with it again, over to Chris Gallagher. Gallagher over to Doe, Doe over to Williams. Williams runs this one up, runs it up some more, over to Martin, Grant Martin with it now. Martin will pass it back to Garcia, who takes a shot, and that's not the man you want to take the shot, that's for sure. And is back for another goal kick. Still 1-0 BYU. And, we're dominating the game in probably every potential statistic, and yet we can't get that second goal across. Here's Chris Bowden looking for Son Hyun-taek and finds him, and his header just goes over the top of the goal. At least we're not hitting that 10th to 15th row behind the goal anymore like we were a couple of games ago. And Daly is fouled, and there's no call at all. Silvis now with the ball. Silvis brings this up by himself, and he's looking for a cross. Instead, he passes it back to Gallagher. Gallagher with it and passes it up to Martin. Martin over to Silvis, who has the shot from range, and that was a little bit ill-advised. Not too bad, but probably, again, not exactly what we wanted to do. And we're going to go into halftime right now. So 1-0 is the lead for BYU here at halftime, and let's see what we can do from here. We do think that you're all capable of doing a little bit better, and looking for poor performances. The one that I see is probably Garcia that we're going to take off. We'll put Jim Roca on. And Bowden, I kind of want to take off as well, but there's no place to put him, unfortunately. There's nobody to bring on for him. And that's one of the problems with this database, right? We don't have a whole bunch of guys who can play in that attacking center midfield role because I can't get him. And the reason why I can't get him is because there's no transfer window. And when there is a transfer window, we can only get 4 players, right? We have to get defensive midfielders first. It's just kind of a ridiculous setup. Alpha Doe with the ball now, passes it to Son Hyun-taek over to Silvis. Silvis over to Bowden, back to Gallagher. Gallagher takes this up himself, passes up to Daly. Daly with it, and he passes down to Silvis, over to Gallagher again. Gallagher, and it's taken away from him. Thornton has it now for Oregon State, but Doe's able to get back onto that one. And the ball sort of stays in the middle of the field, and a couple of minutes go by. Here's Alpha Doe with this now over to Son Hyun-taek, back to Alpha Doe. Alpha Doe with the ball. And he lumps this one forward for Aldana. Well, if it's that easy, we should be doing that every time. Aldana almost rounds the keeper and just barely is not able to score because of a good play by Findlay. But yeah, man, if we can just bypass midfield, let's just bypass midfield. Why are we kind of dinking it around in midfield and risking interceptions? You can just lump it to Aldana. Let's do that every time. All right, that's all we need to do. Matt Williams heads it over as far as Son Hyun-taek, and it goes back to Sherman, over to Guerra, and I'm not quite sure what Silvis was doing there. He kind of fell on the ground. Sherman passes over to Quintero, and I don't know how Korn got his hand onto that one, but he was just barely able to keep that one out. That would have been the equalizer, and that would have been trouble. Grant Martin with it now. And look at how many players Oregon State has back. Good heavens, over to Son Hyun-taek. Son Hyun-taek passes that forward to Evan Bowden, and that's going to be a goal, and that's going to be onside. There's no question about that. And we hit them with a counterattack, and that makes it 2-0 BYU. We hit them with a counterattack despite the fact that they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players committed to defending. And I'm not quite sure how Oregon State could have played this one better unless they had a deeper defensive line. Boy, I tell you, that was a really, really good counterattack and good teamwork there by our team. And it's 2-0 BYU. And here's the other Gallagher with the ball over to Guerra. And let's see if we can play defense again this time. So we get lucky in that that goal that Oregon State would have had as an equalizer ends up not being a goal at all. And now we're in trouble. And thankfully, instead of shooting from the side, they pass it forward to the center so that Alpha Doe can get his foot over in front of that one. Otherwise, that is is the first goal for Oregon State. And, we talk about Korn being a great defender, or a great goaltender, but it's really been the defense that's helped him out. Because balls like this are not even getting back to him. There's nothing he has to do with it. So, as long as you have good defenders in front of you, you're good. It's amazing we're able to do this with only 3 defenders, and there's another ball lumped forward to Aldana, and he scores his second goal. and that makes it 2-0 BYU. Cesar Aldana is the sort of player who I think just sort of scores goals for the sake of scoring them. I think that he likes being in the limelight. I think that he likes the fact that he's scored whatever it is, like 35 goals or whatever so far this season, and I think he's going to try to score more. He's just that sort of striker, the one who, is going to come out day after day and is going to try to score all of the goals for you and really is going to get jealous if somebody else has a chance. Here's Evan Bowden again with a free kick, and that one's almost in for another goal. It's knocked out by Findlay, and it's up for another BYU corner. Here's Bowden taking this corner, and he steps back and steps forward again and launches, and it's to Chris Gallagher, and that ball is off of Findlay, and it was over to Matt Williams, who tapped it in, but unfortunately Williams fouled the defender who was on him on his way. Daryl Daly now with it, and he takes a shot instead of passing that one forward to Aldana, and if he had lumped that one up just a little bit for Aldana, that would have been his hat trick. Here's Bowden now taking the corner, and he steps back and fires, and he looks for Chris Gallagher in the far post and can't quite find him. It's Alpha Do now. Alpha Do passes it back over to Daryl Daly again. Daly will set this up again, and he brings it forward on that right side. And then he does a little bit of deking, passes it eventually to Chris Gallagher, who tries to pass back to Sun Hyun Taek, who unfortunately for us does nothing with it. There's a missed tackle by a BYU player, and that was not just a tackle, man. That was a shoulder. That's like a wrestling move that he tried. Matt Williams, though, gets in front and is able to grab onto that ball as it is crossed in forward. There was nobody there for Oregon State to get on the other side of that cross anyway. Chris Gallagher now with the back to Alpha Do. Alpha Do over to Sun Hyun Taek, back to Alpha Do. Alpha Do moves this one back down to Matt Williams, and that's over with Jim Roca. Jim Roca over to Matt Williams. Williams over to Grant Martin, and his shot is deflected and ends up going nowhere. And they're going to sort of lump this ball forward again, and it's with Quintero over to Thornton. Thornton has it, and Silvas fortunately is able to intercept that pass to Martin, and then over to Aldana, who's onside. And Aldana has 4 men around him, and so he just blasts a shot from range, and it almost goes in. We'll take it. We'll take that. It's a good job. But, yeah, it's probably not the wisest decision to make in that situation. We probably could have passed, right? That's what I said about Aldana. He's the sort of player who wants to do it all himself. He wants the glory for himself. He wants to be in all the papers. He wants the kids to collect the trading cards and the stickers and all that stuff. That's the sort of player that he is. He wants to be, Aldana, the star player, instead of Aldana, the team player, and Aldana, the, let's hope the team get 9 goals a game or whatever. That's the difference between this save and the early days of that Yenbian save. I can see that Boise State is losing, which is good for us. Losing to Colorado State, which is pretty poor for Boise State. That was Gallagher there with that kick from range, and that ended up going nowhere. It's back here now with us, and it's almost as far as Daly. He can't quite get onto it. He's a little tired. Gallagher grabs over to Daly, back to Gallagher, and then now back to Alpha Do in the back, over to Silvas, and it goes all the way back to Korn. I hate it when we do this, but I guess we have to from time to time. Matt Williams with the ball, and he sends it back to Alpha Do again. You can see that Oregon State's kind of trying to plug that middle and prevent us from doing anything. Somebody needs to lump this one forward for Aldana. It's over to Silvas, back to Do, and then back down to Williams. Just lump it forward. Here you go. Roca with it, and he lumps that forward looking for Grant Martin, and unfortunately that is intercepted. Is back, however, with Evan Bowden, and that's forward to Silvas, who's surprised to have it, over to Martin. Martin scores a goal easily. Good goal by Grant Martin, number 10 of the season for, he's only 16, I think it is, if I remember right. And that makes it 4-0 BYU over Oregon State. So that wasn't exactly lumping it forward for Aldana's hat trick, but that was pretty close. Silvas looked surprised to have this one. There was Martin, and Aldana, of course, was wide open, but he says, no, I see that, top right corner. I'm just going to take that top right corner for myself, and he does. Martin with I think his first goal of the match. I think he had an assist before. Here's Alpha Do with it, and he lumps this one forward looking for Aldana, and it's just beyond Aldana's head, over to Sun Hyun Taek, down to Jim Roca. Jim Roca over to Martin, who I think is onside. Aldana, though, is able to score the hat trick, and that should be it. I think that Aldana was onside. Martin might have been offside. So let's see what they say. And we're making the review, and that's disallowed for offside. So they are going to say that Aldana was offside. That would have been number 36 for him, and instead that's just the final whistle, and we're going to see a quick replay of this. Yeah, Aldana's offside. That's pretty clear. See, the defender moved as soon as that ball had been passed, but it was a little bit too late, and that was a pretty good call by the ref. 4-0 BYU with the win. They had an XG of 1.3, but couldn't manage to score a single goal. That's the end of that one, and hope you're having a good day. Talk to you later. Bye.